Hey y'all, Jill here from Porch Sit and Knit. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be discussing the Porch Sit and Knit Beginner Knitting Series, Let's Make a Washcloth Knit Along. So some basic things that you are going to need are the Grandma's Dishcloth pattern. You can get this from Ravelry and I will link below. You will need this to download this pattern. You have to make a Ravelry account, download the pattern. You can print it out or take a picture of it or whatever. It's completely free and we have been given permission by PJ Allen to use it for this knit along. Also, you will need some cotton yarn. You can get this at Walmart. You can order it online. Let me know if you're having trouble sourcing materials and I can help you with that. It just needs to be 100% cotton, any color that you want, and there are some really great fun colors out there. You will also need some knitting needles. I prefer wooden needles for beginners because they're a little bit more grippy to the yarn, but if you can't get those, then you'll have to work with what you have. Usually they come in 9 or 10 inch and then they jump to longer ones. You want the 9 or 10 inch ones. And for cotton weight yarn, you will need size 7 knitting needles. If you cannot get 7, but you could get 6 or 8, that would be okay too. But typically you want to use what's recommended. But when we are knitting under quarantine and social distancing and supplies are running out, we have to use what we have to use. You will also need a tapestry needle. You won't need this for a while, so don't stress out about it, but eventually you will. I like the ones with the curved end like you see here. You can get these on Amazon. You can get them anywhere. They're just nice when you're going through your stitches to have that curve there. And you will also need a pair of scissors. Any scissors that you have will totally be fine. I like to keep these little ones around and toss them in my bag so that I always have them. Okay, so those are the basic things that you're going to need. We're going to do the knit along in a couple of steps, and in the end you will have your washcloth. So mostly what we're going to do today is learn about making a slip knot and casting on, and then we're going to work on the knit stitch. Then until the next video comes out, I want you just to practice the knit stitch. Just keep practicing it, practicing it, practicing it. That way that you have it ready to go whenever we actually start the washcloth. You'll have that part down, and then we're going to learn some other techniques that you will need to get to the washcloth. Okay, so what you're going to do when it's time to cast on, you don't need your needles or anything, you just need your yarn. Okay, you're going to make a slip knot. If you already know how to do that, that's fine. If not, I'm going to show you here. This knit along is 100% for beginners. I'm going to walk you through every single step. Okay, so if you have your yarn laid out like this, what you're going to do is take the tail of your yarn and put it underneath the yarn that's connected to your ball. Okay, underneath. Then you are going to reach through that loop, take your thumb and kind of flip up the yarn that's connected to your tail, or connected to your ball, I'm sorry, and then pull that up. Okay, so let's do that again here. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to take your yarn. Okay, so this is considered your tail end, and then this end is connected to your ball of yarn. Okay, so you want to focus on taking your tail end of your yarn and putting it under the strand that's connected to your ball. Okay, and then you want to reach through and you want to grab that piece that's connected to your ball and you want to pull it up, keep your tail down, and pull it and make it a loop. Okay, and don't worry that this is so big, because that's the whole point of making it a slip knot, is that you can pull on the end that's connected to the ball and you can adjust the size of your loop. Okay, now if you would rather do it in your hands, which is what I do, this is how I go about it. I take my tail, same thing, I go underneath my one that's connected to my ball of yarn. I take my fingers through, so it's kind of hard to see. Take my fingers through, grab the piece that's connected to my ball, and I just pull up. Okay? Now, what you're going to do to cast on after that is you are going to take one of your knitting needles, put it in your right hand if you're right-handed, left if you're left, and you're just going to stick the needle through. And then you can grab this and you can kind of tug on it up and it'll pull. And you don't want to make it super tight. You just want to make it sufficiently tight. Okay? Now, if for some reason you find that your tail, you want your tail to be facing you, and your yarn that's on the back needs to be the one that's connected to your ball. Okay, so if for some reason you find that your tail is to the back, then don't worry about that. All you need to do is fix it. Okay, what you can do to fix that, just take your needle out, keep your loop, turn your loop around, stick your needle back in, tighten up. So tail is coming to you, yarn connected to your ball of yarn is going away from you. Now, what I'm going to show you is called the long tail cast on. Okay, and it's called the long tail cast on because the yarn that you need for the cast on comes mostly from your tail. Some from your ball of yarn and some from your tail. So if you're going to cast on like 80 stitches or something wild, you need to have a really long tail. And you can kind of estimate that. What I usually do is wrap around my needle like this, and that will...